So for the last, I don't know, 4 years or so, the only multiplayer shooter game I've really played is Battlefront 2. If you watch my channel at all, you can gather that, and hell, even when I'm playing that game, I'm swinging a lightsaber more than I'm shooting a gun. I've dabbled in some shooters here and there, Cold War, Modern Warfare, and recently Splitgate. And not to say those games aren't good, they just weren't ever able to hold my attention for very long, and I pretty much thought I had given up on multiplayer first-person shooter genre games entirely, writing them off as yearly cash grabs. That was until the game that I haven't been able to put down for 2 weeks now came out, or it's beta technically, and that game is Halo Infinite. Now, just to give you guys some perspective on my Halo career, I'll give you a brief history of me and the Chiefs' relationship. For starters, I've never really played Halo multiplayer. At least not that I can remember, probably a few matches here and there, but none that I can really notably recall. For me, Halo was always about the campaign. I've beaten Combat Evolved, 3, and Halo Reach. I've played some of 2, and Halo Reach was probably the game I played the most. I put a lot of hours into Forge, Firefight, and the campaign, but that was really the last Halo I ever played. So we're going on 10 years now essentially, pretty much no Halo. So, I'm not a complete Halo virgin, but it's safe to say I'm a Halo noob. Now with that said, I'm going to tell you why I absolutely love Halo Infinite. The first thing I want to get out of the way is the visuals. This game looks, feels, and sounds like Halo. And visuals certainly don't make a game great, however they can absolutely make a great game better, and even more nostalgic. Halo for me has always been known for its unique look. From the foreign and alien interiors of Covenant ships to the large mountainous grasslands of the Halo rings, and even the unique yet more familiar designs of the UNSC weapons and vehicles giving an idea of what our technology will look like in the future. Everything is just on full display in this game, and it takes me back to playing Halo 3 as a young gamer. Hell, even the fact that all the armors in the Battle Pass are straight out of Halo Reach, my favorite Halo ever, has me sold on the visuals of this game, and the aesthetic really being a culmination of the entire Halo franchise, which this game is kind of being marketing as, or sort of a reboot of the franchise. Soft reboot. I don't really know. Like I said, I'm a Halo noob. And not to mention the audio of this game, everything I just said, but 10 times better. This game quite literally speaks for itself. From the weapons, to vehicles, and even the announcer, everything is just like literal perfection to the ears.
No scope. Killing spree. Victory.
Stronghold Bravo lost.
Now with our visual nostalgia trip out of the way, let's speak more about the gameplay elements that I think are really good. And my first one I want to go over is that everyone starts off the same. And what I mean by that is no matter which mode or map, every player starts off with the same gear, and this is probably my favorite thing about the game. I know older Halos did this, but I'm not sure about 4 or 5, if there was any class systems or anything like that, but I just love that everyone has the same opportunity to get all the good gear, from sniper rifles, energy swords, warthogs, grenades, overshields, absolutely everything is available to you as soon as you download the game. And one of the things I really don't like about Call of Duty and other modern shooters is that most of the good weapons, perks, and attachments are all locked behind higher levels. Which makes sense since, higher level people should have higher level gear. However, I just think that it's really off-putting to new players. Seeing all this gear they're getting absolutely destroyed by, and knowing they have to grind for days to get it, just makes you think, yeah, I'm good with this game. I can't tell you how many COD games I've tried to play after release, and as a new player, there's just so much I don't know about the meta and the weapons and what's good, and I just give up playing and move on to something else I can kind of understand easier. And sure, you might have a match here and there where that same dude keeps snagging an energy sword and you just can't get it, but hey, it is first come first serve, and besides, you can just team kill him, or follow him around until he dies. And I just think that in general, it's such a good way to make any new player or average player feel powerful without having them to grind for higher level gear. The next aspect of the game I want to cover is the weapons and the sandbox in general. And I know this is kind of another hot take, as I've heard mixed things about the weapons in this game, but personally, I love them. I think they're all so unique and so much fun to use. And that's not to say that I think all the weapons are great. For me, it's the heat wave and the pulse rifle. For some reason, I just can't hit the broadside of a barn with those things. But even so, they still feel unique. Some of the weak weapons I think just need a little buff, and they'll be just as good as some of the good stuff in the game. Every weapon just handles very differently and really does require you to spend a little bit of time with it to really know how to use it. I remember one of my first matches, I tried picking up the Cinder Shot, tried using it for 2 minutes, and then quickly came to the conclusion that it was a piece of shit and I did not need it. However, once the Fiesta mode dropped and I started using it more and more, I realized I actually loved it. And it does require some finesse, but it's a really good weapon. And I had a similar experience with the Mauler and the Needler. At first I was just doing awful, but after some time, they're now some of my favorite weapons. And I also like how most weapons have very limited ammo, especially the big boys like the Spanker, the Skewer, and the Sniper, that can allow you to kick some major ass, but they quickly run out of ammo, so you have to scavenge the map and the battlefield to keep finding weapons to survive with. And I think that's another thing that really adds to the sandbox. There's just so many unique combinations of weapons and gadgets that can really make every encounter feel fresh. And the gadgets, by God, do I love the grapple hook. Just give me an energy sword and a grapple hook and let the
Killing spree.
roll in. And there's also some really good team gadgets I noticed. The drop shield was extremely useful for playing Stronghold, allowing you and your team a moment to group up and retaliate when under fire. Or all the badass stuff you could do with the repulsor. Some punk trying to energy sword you for the 5th time in a row, just send them flying when they get close to you. And I even saw a clip on YouTube where someone used it to deflect a sticky grenade right back at the dude who threw it at him, and he killed him with it. And this is the sandbox I'm talking about. There's just so many different ways to use all the weapons, and no matter what you choose, it's always fun. And the last thing I want to go over is the movement and the general pace of the gameplay, and how it encourages you to fight instead of run. I think the movement is a bit more stiff than most games, and not stiff in a bad way, and how maybe that's not even the right word to use, but it's just not as balls to the walls crazy like something in COD, where you can sprint, slide, grenade, throwing knife, 360, no scope, AC 130 somebody in like 4 seconds. But actions in Halo I think just have more weight. And if you commit to something, you better follow through. If you start a gunfight and try sprint sliding away, you're probably going to get killed, and probably teabagged. If you go in for that melee, you better hope it hits, because now they're going to melee you. I feel like everything you do in this game has consequences. If you do good, the consequence is an epic kill or a badass vehicle hijack. If you fuck up, the consequence is a pair of Spartan balls on your corpse. I think encouraging players to be more aggressive is a good thing, and if you're not doing well, it's important to take the time and work on your aim, or just practice strafing, different tactics. You kind of have to learn and actually practice to get better. Where I feel like in other shooters, Battlefront 2 and Call of Duty included, you can just kind of design a class that'll buff you in a specific scenario or playstyle, or only use one operator or hero the whole time that you're good at for the entire game. Halo has none of that crap. Everybody has a gun, a nade, and a shield, so you have to get good. And although I've been gushing over the game, it's not certainly all sunshines and rainbows. And I'm aware of the controversy around this game, mainly with the progression system, and it being basically non-existent aside from the cosmetics, which are tied to the battle pass into the store. And I definitely get those complaints because it sucks. The only way to make your Spartan look unique is to cough up $10, or even more than that. With that being said, I think I am one of the few who really doesn't mind it, probably just because I have a lot of time to really grind it out. But I know it's definitely an inferior system to prior Halos. However, the game is free to play, and that's not an excuse for not having good customization. But at the end of the day, I think accessibility to the game is more important than accessibility to cosmetics. And in my opinion, when/if you do buy the Battle Pass, you definitely get a lot of options for customization. But I definitely hope that in the future we see some more cosmetic options that don't require you to pay. But even aside from that, the game still has a lot of work to do to be really perfect. And the biggest thing for me is more maps and more modes. And also why you can't select the individual game mode that you want to play and have to just hope you get the right mode is just baffling to me. And it's really not helpful for completing challenges. Like bro, the Rockstar energy drink only gives me 30 minutes of double XP, and I need one more oddball match for this challenge. Just please, let me select oddball to get it out of the way. Also, I've heard custom games is kind of a nightmare. I haven't really tried it out myself, but that's definitely going to need some work too. I've heard it doesn't even work. Also, we have to wait for the campaign in the Forge mode and co-op for all those to be released till this game is actually even complete and can be properly compared to earlier games in the franchise. It's absolutely going to be a long road, but I think it's a road I'm going to be riding for quite a while. And those are basically my Halo noob thoughts on the latest game in the franchise. Tell me below what you think of Halo Infinite so far. And if you like this video, please press the like button. It really helps out the channel grow, and consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Peace out, Spartans.